Welcome to this week's Travelin' Young, and a couple months ago we did a video where we looked at the bridges on the Danish Krone Bank Note. Well, this week we're going to flip it over and find all the objects because they're located right here in the Danish National Museum in Copenhagen. We're the Youngs.
We've spent our lives traveling the world,
and in 2018 we moved from
Chicago, Illinois to
Copenhagen, Denmark.
Now we want to share with you
how our new lives abroad
is keeping us young.
Keeping us young.
Are helping to keep us young. Welcome to this Friday's Travelin' Young, and as mentioned in the intro, we're going to look at all the objects and icons that are pictured on the Danish Krone Bank Note because they're all located in the Danish National Museum in Copenhagen. This is a follow-up to the video that we did about the bridges, which are also pictured on the banknotes. But the museum is just one of the nicest ones. I mean, I got to say, though, museums in Denmark are all top-notch. But what's really special about this one is its location. It's directly across the canal from Christiansborg Slot, and that's because it was originally built as the Prince's Palace in the 1700s, which means when you walk around the museum, portions of it have been added on over the years, like the foyer and some other parts of it. But there's a big piece of it that's still from the original palace. And you can walk through the Great Hall and kind of imagine what it was like when royalty was having big parties there. So it is a really, really cool building in itself, besides all the really cool things they have on display. But we were there specifically to look at these objects. There's 5 of them, and we were fortunate enough to spend time with Flemming Kohl, who's a senior researcher and curator and an expert in that old part of prehistory of Denmark. And he visits each of the objects with me and Maya. She was with me. And let's just go ahead and get started and see what we can learn about connecting these objects that you can see in this museum in Copenhagen with the Danish Krone banknotes that you may actually have in your wallet right now. I'm standing here with Flemming Kohl, and you are a senior researcher and curator at the museum. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how long you've been here and what exactly you do at the museum?
Yes, I've been here since as curator since 1986, and that time I've had a lot of interesting research projects. I've been working with Bronze Age religion, and here we have, of course, the Chariot of the Sun. I have also had the opportunity to find the trade routes through Europe, and of course, Denmark is and was dependent on trade routes. In the Bronze Age, every drop of tin and copper had to be imported from elsewhere, creating the product bronze. The copper, for instance, coming from mines in the Alps, and also finished products. And there we could mention the Keldbystøtten, which we are going to see.
Yeah, exactly. So you've mentioned already a couple of the reasons why I'm here right now is you're going to take us on this scavenger hunt through the museum to find and see and tell the story of each of the objects that are pictured on the Danish banknote. And I did this video on bridges already a few months ago, and I went and visited all the bridges, and I just learned kind of a sliver of the history because there's so much. So I'm really excited about walking around and having you tell us a little bit more about what these objects mean. And it was really interesting earlier when you were telling me, when we were sitting down talking about this, about how, when they chose what objects and what bridges to show, it was important to represent all the different ages, Stone Age, Bronze Age, all this in history, as well as geographies of Denmark. And what we're going to see is being able to kind of basically connect the bridges and the lands of Denmark together with these objects. And tell us a little bit about that so we can just kind of prep for this journey as we walk through the museum.
Yes, every object chosen is also on the banknotes being related to a bridge. One could say that it's so fantastic to see all the richness of the Danish prehistory. But what is also very typical of Denmark is, of course, the many bridges. And bridges of that particular area where the objects was found, that find, I think, a very harmonious way of being on our banknotes.
Very good. Yeah. I mean, it's neat. And the fact that all of those objects are here in this museum and you can come and see them all and kind of help see the harmony yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, but wow, let's stop talking so you and I can go look at them right now.
Yes,
So,
let's do that.
let's go.
Okay, so now we have a piece of pottery from Skarpsalling, and this is on the 50 krone bill. And I can just see, just from looking at it, it's so detailed, it's so beautiful. I just want to hear all about it.
Yes, yes, and this, well, almost the finest of all pieces of pottery from the Danish prehistory. It is also among the oldest of them, because this piece here is from the Stone Age.
Wow.
It was created, well, you can say a piece of art. It was created around 3000 BC.
That is very old.
Yes, and look at the delicate decoration with such small things.
Such small details.
Yes, yes, and the final thing is that some sort of charcoal powder has been put into the decorated pieces, so you can see that it stands out as something white against the background
Yeah, this dark color
of the undecorated clay. It's actually one of the very, very few pots which came out, has been found in one piece. So here we have actually a 5,000 years old piece of art.
Now we're standing in front of the Hindsgavl dagger from the 100 Danish Krone Bank Note. And I'll apologize, the reflections are a little tough in some of these, but tell me about this and why this is on the Danish Krone.
This dagger is the finest piece of craftsmanship of, should we say, the last generations of flint knappers of Denmark. We are at a time where bronze and copper were being introduced and used also for daggers and weapons. But here, this fantastic thin blade, the flint knapper has cut out of the finest flint possible. And you can see that it is actually imitating the shape of a bronze or copper dagger. You can see the handle, you can see the fine blade. It's almost as smooth as if it was made of metal. But it is flint. It has been cut by the flint knapper. And you can see how the handle is shaped as though it has a pommel of metal. And we actually call it with the shape for a fishtail dagger. So here we have the last attempt of the old Danish flint knapper tradition to try to compete with the new material bronze. And for some time they could make these fantastic products, but eventually the bronze, where you can create all shape by casting, the bronze came in and took over most of the production of daggers and weapons.
All right, and now we're at the belt disc from Landsrup in Sjælland. And you were telling me a little bit before that these swords were to show status for the men, and these belt discs that we have here were used to show status for the women. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, here we have a lot of swords, and that belong to the male sphere. And the female, some of the females were also allowed to carry weapon, a big dagger. But most typical for the women, that is the belt disc or the belt plate, decorated with bands of spirals. Spirals themselves being symbols of the eternal voyage of the sun, up and down, round and round. So here we have a magnificent piece of ornament sitting in the belt, shining in the sun. The bronze, when new, it will shine golden, be itself like a sun disk. So here we have one of the most magnificent pieces of dress ornaments that you can think about, made 1400 BC. It's such a great piece. It's almost impossible to do this thin big plate in the casting process today, when it is impossible for that big one, the biggest of all the bed plates of our Bronze Age.
All right, welcome to Try It On Tuesday.
Yes.
And by the way, it seems like earlier I said Friday a bunch of times on the video, so I don't think I'm going to re-record those. I'm just going to correct it now and say I meant to say Tuesday, not Friday. So welcome to this Tuesday's Try It On Tuesday. And we've got some beer here. And why do we have this beer, Miranda?
It's special for me. I've recently kind of come to the conclusion, I'm still going to go get tested and talk to my doctor, but that gluten is not my friend. And so I've taken gluten out of my diet, and one of the sad losses then is beer. So, you actually mentioned we should try some gluten-free beer.
So we've got some Svanike Aloha Pilsner gluten-free beer to try. And this is good because I'm going to get this right. Next Tuesday is when we'll air the second annual Christmas beer tasting with my friend Peter. So this is in advance of that. That will be an entire Try It On Tuesday of beer. So this is a little precursor to that.
Yours is fun and has gluten in it.
That's true. Well, I don't know what it tastes like. So let's see.
You know what? That's not bad.
I'm not gonna say that.
You're not gonna say that?
No. I mean, not bad can mean so many things. It's not bad, but it's not bad. Like there could be like, well, that's not bad, or it could be, well, I mean, it's not bad. Well, it's not bad. What are you? Are you well, it's not bad.
I would drink it again.
I mean, you have no choice.
I have no choice.
So you think at the moment, but
I'm just enjoying my gluten.
I feel like it almost tastes alcohol free in a way. Like there's something slightly different that's hard to put my finger on.
Well, I mean, it's missing the wheat.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, from a taste perspective, it has an effect on the taste. So, yeah, it's not my favorite thing. But you know what is my favorite thing? Christmas beer. So I'm going to have that in a couple days when I film that with Peter next Tuesday. But that's it for this Tuesday's Try It On Tuesday.
And now we have the bronze bucket, which is on the 500 krone bill. And all the things we've seen before are Danish, but this is the one thing that actually isn't Danish originally.
Yes, this piece, which was found at Keldby on the island of Møn in Denmark, this piece is from far away. We can see that it is probably made in Greece, in Macedonia, northern Greece, or in one of the Greek colonies of the Black Sea coast. So we are really far away.
Very far. This traveled very, very far. And these were used as urns, is that correct?
Yes. This piece here was found on a hill on Møn. We are not quite sure, because it was 200 years ago it was found, we are not quite sure whether it's a burial mound, but we think so. So
it's maybe an urn.
So it's quite funny to think that these fine pieces of bronzes, they have originally in Greece been used as part of a wine drinking equipment. So it's actually a wine bucket, a fine one. And think, if you like wine or beer, how nice it might have been to be buried in not a wine bottle, but a wine bucket.
Yeah.
So right now we're standing in front of the Chariot of the Sun, which is on the 1,000 Danish Krone Bank Note. And you told me earlier that this is one of the kind of a really important icon chosen for the bills. Tell us why that's the case.
Yes, the Chariot of the Sun is really one of the most interesting and fantastic things of the Danish prehistory. When it was found by plowing a field in Northwest Zealand in 1902, then it was really something quite new and astonishing. Because here, the Chariot of the Sun, you see for the first time a real sculpture of what they believed in the Bronze Age, because this is religious art. you see a horse pulling the sun over the heavens. You see a little eyelet on the sun disk, and there's an eyelet also underneath the neck of the horse. And that means that the horse pulled the sun by the string. The divine sun horse helping the sun over the heavens, but not just over the heavens, because the sun horse also could help the sun after sunset when it was traveling through the underworld. This fantastic horse, which in the beliefs of the Bronze Age could let the sun move. It's called the chariot of the sun. But actually the belief is just the sun horse pulling the sun. Finito basta. But this wagon were both sun and horses placed on. So you must think that more than 3,000 years ago, a Bronze Age priest has been driving this chariot of the sun round so that he could tell people about cosmology, about how it was possible for the sun to move over the heavens at daytime and through the underworld during the night.
I hope you enjoyed that walk through the museum with Maya, myself, and Fleming. He was super kind. I thank you again for taking the time to spend with us. We went over there one evening after work when the museum was closed so that we can shoot everything and do everything. It was super nice to spend that time. So thank you, Fleming. We really appreciate it, and all the knowledge that you shared with us. I mean, it was so I learned so much about the Stone Age and the Bronze Age that I didn't even know before. The Chariot of the Sun, really interesting parts of Danish history that I didn't know about. And the fact that you can see all of these objects that are pictured on the Danish banknote all in a single place in that museum is just really neat. I would highly advise going. The rest of the museum is also really cool to see. As mentioned, the location is great. So it was just a really, really cool evening. And Miranda and I went back later actually to take some more footage and look at more stuff. And that's like the third time we've been to the museum because it's one of our favorites in Copenhagen. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you guys are interested in more videos about money, because there's other Danish Krone banknotes from the past that I think also have interesting histories to them and the things and people that are pictured on them. So perhaps we'll do some more in the future. Let me know what you think. But until then, I'm just going to say goodbye.